Now, I live in Colorado. There's lots of immigrants here. I don't know if they're illegal or not. They came across the border legally. Okay? So take the word illegal off. It really doesn't change your story, but take the word illegal off. They come here and they got 6 months before they're even allowed to get ID. It's a whole bunch of us here without ID. There's a whole bunch of people born here without ID. That'd make them illegal Americans. Why is it that black people are always trying to find someone to discriminate against? Now, I love me some Dane to the Calloway, but I kind of disagree. And no, I haven't seen this video yet. But you have to understand, it's hard to change laws. Who made the law? Who didn't? I think the last presidency should have had that law already made, since that was the one that really doesn't like immigrants. Let's make that clear. And a lot of times when Democrats are in office, there's a lot of Republicans batting down our initiatives, plans, ideas, laws trying to make, and then complain as if they want to do it. Now, if y'all like the wall is what lit them in, okay? How about that? How about if you voted for the wall, it didn't get built, and that's why they're here? Did you forget that? The man whose presidency ran on that? You put Biden and Kamala's picture up. A lot of times the president before writes things into laws and out of laws that affects the next presidency. And some of the laws don't even come into effect until the next presidency. Because, of course, he thought he was going to win and be there these 4 years, right? That needs some of them to come in here and be a slave because all the slaves couldn't pick no cotton and no fruits and vegetables, but 6 feet apart for a long time. And they also buried and burnt food that grows. How are you going to get the cost of food down unless you get some slaves? Because the gas is going up. Now, when they say immigrants are taking over Colorado, I beg to differ. I live here in Denver. I don't go outside very much, but I go outside enough to know that I haven't seen any immigrant crime. Now, I watched that on the news about those apartment buildings. Picture it. 1990s, Aurora, Colorado. When buildings are starting to go bad, people like to excuse me, I had a message. People like to double rent apartments. They'll give keys to a person, and the people that's there, you know, the apartment that's supposed to be vacant, or because what that means is not the people that the tenants that are still there, like Goldilocks. It means that the managers didn't verify the apartment is empty, nor did they clean it because the people are still, the Goldilocks is still there. Goldilocks got dreadlocks though, black people. Okay? So black people are still there, locked and unlocked hair. The managers are nowhere to be found. Some went underground. Some weren't even managers at all. They just faked to be. Picture it, I said we're already in the 1990s. Here in Denver, in Colorado, these things happen. So we have to not forget that that happens. Now, low-income housing, they're not taking black people's homes. They haven't been here long enough to even have ID. We all know how long Section 8 takes, so they're not even, that hasn't happened yet, if that's going to happen. If you was already here and homeless and American, if you ain't already on a list to get an apartment and a job, that's your goddamn stupid ass problem. We'd have been sitting here with empty jobs. I'm just making this up. I mean, just think. Stop thinking stupidly. Just like they don't put this on the news. During COVID, low-income people, disabled people, retired people, these are people on fixed income people, food stamp receiving people, was keeping this economy afloat. And then you think again, you got to double back, you got to, moonwalk back. Take your little moonwalk and notice that they gave all these fixed income people a stimulus check too. Now, I'm not sure if you didn't get one because you was at work. But they were only the essential people, huh? So that's the incomes keeping this country afloat. So I'm saying that to say they weren't outside homeless. Wasn't too many people outside homeless during COVID because of what? Wasn't there a curfew? Huh? There was a lot of people homeless before. Think about it. Think about it. Picture it. Open your eyes. And you're remembering. Like I was saying in my other video, during that, when Hillary and Trump was fighting for presidency, lots of people went homeless then. COVID came out. Wasn't nobody outside until they started marching. And when they was marching, there were no tents on the sidewalk because they were marching on them. And except for probably Skid Row. Places like that. Think about it. So then, you get all this homelessness. Right after COVID, everybody's homeless. That's because everybody wasn't paying their rent. That should have been. You don't not pay rent and think you ain't gonna pay it. That's why we paying y'all's rent now. That's why the rent rules melted. Because of the people that could have paid their rent and didn't. But I'm gonna tell you who paid their rent. I bet you if you had low income housing, you paid your shit. And low income housing people weren't homeless during this time period of Hillary and Trump. Because they was already in the house. Now it takes a while when you get on the list to get in there, but everybody's on the list. So once again, American, if you wasn't on the list before they got here, and if you didn't get on the list way back during that Trump administration, too damn bad. You're lazy. I know a lot of people that say, well, that list 2 years long. And then they sit around 6 years without getting on it. And I looked up and I told Auntie, I said, how long you been here now? 6 years. I said, and how long you tell me it take on those Section 8 lists? They say that take 2 years at least. I said, but you'd have had a whole apartment by now, huh? They said it'd take a long time. I said, but you've been here 6 years. See, that's what we do. Not just her. People with educations do that. I mean, that high school education, and they graduated, with some C's and B's. There's a lot of people out here with college educations that need low-income housing. Life gives you turns. I've never had low-income housing. Wish I'd find me a nice little condo somewhere where they just now built them, because they got to allocate some of them for low income. Get on the list. A lot of lists. But guess what? Wait a minute. So now you already know that I just described this new influx of homelessness are not the poor people. We was already in our homes if we poor. I'm disabled on a fixed income. So they, they stick us in a bucket, but I don't get stamps and shit. One day I probably will. Inflation's going up. They try to give you a cost of living increase adjustment, COLA. But some kind of bill in your insurance seems to eat it. That's a big old bite. Well, no, not on the veterans check, but on your Social Security one. Medicare Part B keeps up with it. I can't complain as long as you keep up with it. If Medicare eats the increase, then don't beat the increase. See what I'm saying? Leave me a few dollars on that. Don't take it so that you up into what I already had. That's when you start trying to figure out what to put. But you do see your new money gone. So that's how you watch it, when it starts taking a half a penny out of your old money when you just got a raise. That happens if you get enough raises in life. One of them raises will make your check motherfucker short, smaller than before the raise. Because your tax bracket will change. That's when you're going to have to work real hard so you can get that next raise, and then you'll see an extra. That means you might want to work real good to get the highest raise. But that's somebody, sometimes salary fuck you up too. Overtime. Sometimes overtime, you better look at it. There's a chance that you might get paid less sometimes on overtime. So you got to work it. Because your taxes, the money they take out the check will increase. Is why. Y'all don't know that? Okay. That don't mean don't take a raise. Stupid. Back at the ranch. So if we having them kind of problems already here in America, what you think a person that gets here that ain't allowed to get ID gets? If you want to stick your key in your brand new apartment and there was motherfuckers already in there and your key don't work, Goldilocks in there with the key, with another key, and ain't opening the door, you will go get them hidden with guns that you needed to get out of wherever they came, Venezuela, because you can't find this motherfucker that you gave your money to after you done washed a whole bunch of windows on the streets. And then you on the news looking like a gang. And then even somebody black from a whole nother state, even reputable people like Dane Calloway, I like Dane Calloway, But until you come here and walk around, I can tell you haven't walked around because you would have made a whole different story. But you don't like Kamala, so you didn't want to come walk and see. You usually report on history. Now you're reporting on mystery, and it's not unsolved. Now that will cause a problem. If some new people came here today, people can rent them apartments in the building that was evacuated tomorrow. And they will rent them not only to the immigrants, they'll rent them to the people coming from other states. People empty into Colorado a lot. California's coming here. That poor motherfucker, them, both them from Venezuela and California, them rented the same apartment. How about that? I'm giving scenarios up in here. Real ones. Now, another thing. That one building, the biggest one that they evacuated, and they said because there was gangs taking over. Well, if that kind of situation happens, that's what happens. That building was already infested with gangs and drug infested. Hold on.